Earlier this week, Ukraine claimed that Russia had intensified its attacks on the frontline town, which is only 9 miles from Donetsk, which Moscow controls. According to the Ukrainian General Staff, after unsuccessful attempts to encircle Avdiivka last week, Russian troops have not stopped trying to surround the city. They have regrouped and launched new attacks. New video footage of the fighting released by the Ukrainian military on Saturday shows the destruction of Russian tanks and armored vehicles, noting that casualties are increasing as Russian troops continue to advance. According to Kyiv, Russia lost a total of 127 tanks, 239 armored personnel carriers, and 161 artillery systems over the past week as Russia has stepped up its attacks on Ukrainian defenses in eastern Ukraine. Reports from the front lines and video footage from various sectors around Avdiivka confirm repeated attempts by Russian troops to break through Ukrainian defenses, advancing in massive groups of 20 to 40 armored vehicles, including tanks. Russian advancing troops were repeatedly stopped and pushed back by heavy Ukrainian artillery strikes. The large numbers of troops and militants operating around Avdiivka have likely suffered their heaviest losses since mid-February, and by some measures, this could be one of Moscow's most serious defeats in this war to date. Last week, Russian troops intensified their attacks on Avdiivka in an attempt to encircle the city. Kyiv reported that Russian troops suffered significant losses in both manpower and equipment during these attacks. On October 20, the Ukrainian military reported that Russia had resumed its attacks on Avdiivka, a town firmly controlled by Ukraine and located several kilometers north of occupied Donetsk. Over the past 24 hours, there have been approximately 90 clashes. By comparison, a week ago, the average number of daily clashes was approximately 60. Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Valery Zaluzhny, noted, "The enemy is actively deploying assault units, deploying a significant amount of armored vehicles, using aviation and artillery. However, our military continues to heroically repel the attacks and inflict losses in both manpower and equipment." Together with the commanders and brigade commanders performing tasks on the Avdiivka front, we determined the sequence of our actions, taking into account the constantly changing operational situation, and discussed the priority needs of the units. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces demonstrated their precision by destroying 3 Russian tanks with the help of unmanned aerial vehicles in the Donetsk sector. In addition to the tanks, other enemy military equipment was also damaged. The kamikaze drones have once again demonstrated their high efficiency in the fight against Russian military equipment. The FPV drones were able to destroy several tanks worth millions of dollars. FPV drones caused significant losses to Russian military equipment worth millions of dollars. For example, just one T-90 tank costs at least $2.5 million. For comparison, the average cost of a single kamikaze drone without ammunition is about $500. Ukraine mounts anti-tank grenade launchers and RPGs on cheap racing drones and uses them to attack the Russian front line. This method is effective in gathering intelligence, destroying expensive equipment, and controlling the battlefield, and it represents a significant shift in warfare strategy. Another TOS-1A thermobaric missile launcher of the Russian troops was lost due to a Ukrainian improvised kamikaze drone, which was reported recently in the area of Avdiivka. The video footage shows an FPV drone following the TOS-1A on the road and hitting the rear of the launcher. Some of the first-person footage shows a homemade warhead that looks like an anti-tank projectile designed to be used with an RPG-7 rocket-propelled grenade launcher. Ukraine has used long-range AT-ACMS missiles provided by the United States against Russian troops for the first time. On Tuesday, Ukraine announced that it had carried out one of the most destructive attacks on Russian aviation since the beginning of the war. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that long-range ballistic missiles provided by the United States were used in the attack. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces said they had destroyed 9 Russian helicopters at 2 airfields located in Russian-occupied regions during a nighttime attack on these targets in eastern and southern Ukraine. Photos from the airfield in Berdyansk indicate that the missiles were likely carrying M74 submunitions, small bombs used in older versions of the Army's tactical missile systems. It is noted that Ukraine has pledged not to strike targets in Russia as a condition for receiving missiles from the United States. In his daily address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky noted the successful use of the armed forces' tactical missile systems and expressed gratitude for the implementation of agreements with the United States. According to Zelensky, the armed forces' tactical missile systems have proven themselves. After Ukrainian troops began using the long-range missiles provided by the United States, Berlin again refused to transfer its Taurus missiles to Ukraine. The German government's decision was the result of much discussion and debate, and part of the German reservations concerned the possible use of these missiles in Russia. The Taurus missiles have a range of up to 500 kilometers, which means that Ukraine could use them to strike deep into the Russian-occupied territories, including Crimea. As part of the latest aid package, Germany has provided Ukraine with 3 more Gepard, self-propelled anti-aircraft guns and other military equipment, including a Beaver bridge-laying tank, 40 RQ-35, Hydron and Vector reconnaissance drones, 13 border guard vehicles, 3 road trains and 3 semi-trailers. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. If you found this story intriguing, we invite you to explore even more from our channel. See you next time.